right. Hey guys. Looks like people are starting to come in. We're still missing Ray, but I think we have a quorum. We could maybe get started without him, and then when he comes in, he can just sort of join in where we are, if that works. So yeah, hey guys, hope everybody's doing well. Thanks for joining, and welcome to the fourth and last AMA in our series leading up to the Post-Quantum Blockchain Day. The Post-Quantum Blockchain Day is happening in Hong Kong on October 4th, so this Friday, just a couple days from now. If you haven't gotten your ticket yet, we still have some available on the website, or if you look at our Twitter, you'll be able to find links to get the tickets there. So yeah, make sure you come and join us in person. Should be a great day at the ICC, the tallest building in Hong Kong. So it's a great venue. We'll have great speakers, and yeah, hope to see everybody there. The topic that we're covering today is investing in the future, key trends shaping Web3. So we're going to discuss the evolving investment landscape and hear from some of the leading firms in the space and kind of what they're thinking and what they're looking out for right now. And so with us tonight, we have Linda Chan, who's managing partner of Yolo Capital. We have Thomas Au, who's managing partner of Mindfulness Capital. And we have Ray Wong, who may be a little bit late. I don't see him in here yet, but he is a founding partner at Asymmetry Capital. So yeah, thank you guys for joining tonight and sharing your thoughts with us. I guess before I kind of jump into the questions, could I just turn it over to Linda and Thomas to just quickly introduce yourselves and your firms? Maybe Linda,
Hello.
you want to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Ray he made a request. Ray is here, so let's see if we can get him. But hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm Linda from Yolo Capital. So Yolo Capital is actually part of Yolo Lab, and Yolo Lab is a franchise studio in Hong Kong. We have over 50 developers and team members in Hong Kong and Vietnam. So Yolo Lab started as a development studio specifically in Web3 in last year, and then we gradually roll out to other areas like not just the development studio, we also have the trading led by our other partner, and also an investment arm, which is Yolo Capital. And a little bit on myself, I started in Web3, I guess, with my first cryptocurrency purchase back in 2016 or 17. And then actually I was a software developer. So I actually started my journey with developing in Web3, so meaning that the smart contract and the applications. And so my knowledge and insight is usually from a more tech perspective. So with that, I was able to build projects and also get involved in the space more tightly over years. And in recent years, I focus on just incubating projects and also get involved in some of the projects I'm interested in. I'm particularly interested in developing projects on Solana and also Ethereum, and also looking forward to discuss more about the industry with everyone tonight.
Awesome. Thanks, Linda. Thomas, you want to go?
Hi, I'm Thomas from Mindfulness Capital. I'm the managing partner. I founded the firm in 2018. So the last cycle, We are backed by Ripple's founder, Chris Larsen, and a few family officers, high net worth here in Asia and Europe. This is how I started. In 2012, I invested in my neighbor's startup. He was doing decentralized e-commerce back then. So I invested 120K, quickly lost all of it, but that's how I discovered Ripple, Bitcoin, and all this decentralized mechanism. And then later on, we started mining with some hedge fund guys in Hong Kong, TradFi guys. And then on behalf of the family, I invested in Bitmain, and we built mining farms. And then later on, I started investing in startups. So mining nurtures us. And now we focus on finding more alpha in early stage companies. We invested in Sandbox, Animoca, and probably a few more companies that you guys may know.
Cool. Thanks, Thomas. Ray, are you in?
Yes.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sounds good.
So, we're Asymmetry Capital. We're incubated by Lutech Labs, and which I'm also a founder. We're a venture builder, Asia-based. So we have invested in mostly like social side of things, like Spinterlands, the #1 Web3 game, and also advising some RWA projects right now. So invested in Mantra before and exited, and also a top RWA project Zog, and a couple of projects. We are also looking at the new ecosystems that we also partner with. We are also incubating a digital pet right now. We do really like the pet vertical, so that's what we focus on incubating right now. And that project is backed by the executives of a leading gaming company and also Airbnb. Thanks.
Cool. Nice. Thanks, Ray. So yeah, thanks for the introductions. Good to have you guys here. I think maybe to start, you guys shared a little bit just in your introductions, but could you give us a bit more of the most exciting trends that you're looking at for this bull market? You know, there's a lot out there about AI. You know, Ray, you just mentioned real world assets. What are the key, I guess, narratives that you guys are focusing on right now? Linda, do you want to start, and then Thomas?
Yes. So actually, you know, I think I wouldn't say necessarily a bear market, but just like past 2 years since, you know, FTX and all that. I mean, the market is still building, and there have been a lot of like infrastructure. And what we get today is a lot of improved infrastructure, whether it's L2 or whether it's like on top of L1, you know, everything has, you know, there are more support in terms of like SDK and all that. And so what the market really needs for this bull market to take off is more consumer apps, meaning that the infrastructure actually gets to play its role to connect the users and also to help the projects to, you know, like to bring on this user and to experience, you know, whatever they're building on Web3. So that has been a kind of like a key topic discussed among investor, and maybe during, you know, last 2 weeks in Singapore in tokens. I think everyone's like looking at that. So what we have for consumer aspect, we definitely have, you know, a lot of trading activity in meme coins. And that's been great because meme coins been said to be one of the things that measure the consumer activity or excitement for the L1 chain. But definitely that's not, you know, the most sustainable thing, meme coin itself. I mean, there will always be a few big meme coins that are going to be leading their own market. But I think what we're looking next is more utility and more gamification that help to sustain the token like tokenomics and also the development in long term. So in terms of gamification, there has been, just more recently, people are really excited about prediction market. Definitely, I think everyone pretty knows poly market. So there has been already enough, projects coming out and do prediction market. So I guess what we're looking at, another, like example that is combining all these exciting elements, prediction market, consumer tokens, and some other gamification elements, and which actually offers something new to whether it's Web2 or Web3 investor, or like in retail or in VC space. And this being said, definitely infrastructure is important. So I think this is like the cornerstone for a healthy blockchain market to develop. But I think now is the time that people want to focus on so-called consumer aspect of this, so that there's a mass adoption. But one thing is just, I think a lot of us still figuring out is whether a token model, the traditional token model with VC rank or L rank has been a sustainable model, because as we know, there are a lot of like so-called VC token couldn't get into the market, couldn't like list in the market yet, because of the liquidity that we see is still not enough to support the amount of token that is going to list. So the reason behind this is also because usually this comes with like people need to get, first of all, we need new user to get into Web3. So meaning that's why I was saying we need to look at the consumer aspect, was something that can bring the Web2 user on board. For example, prediction market brings on maybe like from poly market, they brings on more traditional like users, and then these users will reinvest their liquidity into some other token projects. So I think this is the overall theme. We don't really, there are a lot of exciting verticals. We can talk more later, but this is my perspective right now.
Cool, thanks. So consumer apps. Just quick follow up. The for the meme coins, which ecosystem do you think is best for the meme coins, or where the most activity is going to be? Is it, there's a lot on Base and like Solana, I think, last couple months or earlier this year, that seemed like there was a lot.
Yeah, if you're talking about short term, it'll be on Tron and Tron. Definitely Solana is leading in terms of meme coin. Also, Base has a showing good volume, but just like more concentrated in terms of like the volume. Recently, we're seeing a lot more project goes on Tron and Tron, because these two chains, they are still relatively new, and there's still room for this meme coin to grow. And so I think this will be the pattern, right? So meme coin is always going to be here, but because it's the first thing a new chain needs to kind of like establish themselves, like they need to show their activity with the meme coin.
Got it. Thomas, how about you? What are you focusing on at the moment?
I think when I decode the word exciting, there are a few layers of meaning. Is it cool, or is it profitable for us, right? Perhaps it's either or both. And when I think of profitable, there are also a few layers of meaning. Is it profitable for the founders? If it wasn't for the project, they wouldn't be able to raise a few $1 million and run something on their own. Is it profitable for VCs who have invested? Is it profitable for retail token holders that participate? And is it profitable for projects that build projects on this protocol? So sometimes, in an ideal world, we want all the boxes to be checked, but in reality, we see sometimes only one or two boxes are checked. In terms of a specific track that we are looking into recently, we think community community-driven trading habits is on a growing trend. So we're about to invest in a decentralized, non-custodian auto trade platform, similar to Bananagans, but it's non-custodian. Versus Bananagans, they have the ultimate private key. So this is one of the tracks that we like. We also like DePIN, but it's tricky when it comes to DePIN, because theoretically you can connect all kinds of devices into a DePIN network, cars, aircrafts, all sort of things, modem. But then, are you able to get? How do you onboard users? Like I think last cycle, Helium was quite successful because modem is a concept that everyone understands. It's almost like POW 2.0. So people understand it. So you can expand the network quite quickly. So we like DePIN, but we haven't found a specific project that that's like Helium yet. But then we invested in Peak, which is like the underlying protocol for others to build on top of it. So I guess when you invest in the underlying protocol, you can't go too wrong. So that's one of our strategies. Also, I think Bitcoin Layer 2 is definitely a track that everyone is looking into. Bitcoin nurtures a whole crypto ecosystem, and so much value is locked in the Bitcoin network. So I think there are a lot of projects are building on that. We invested in BitLayer, which is also one of the many solutions. It's not the solution, but I think is getting quite a lot of traction. Invested by Franklin Templeton. They got roughly 500 mil TVL. I'm pretty much here to do some shielding. I'm just kidding. So I guess maybe the way I would describe it is we're almost, as VC, we are almost like music producers. Like we love our artists, but we are not telling you, okay, Taylor Swift's music is the only music that you should listen to. We enjoy all genres, and we want to find the best artists and let the market, we let retail users decide which ones do they like the most, and they will vote with the tokens. Then you will know.
That's a good approach. Thanks, Ray. What about you?
Always good. It's both good and bad to go last, because I do agree with a lot of what the previous speaker said. I think I like what Linda said about more the consumer side of things. It's what I like. And then also in terms of what Thomas said, maybe there's like an optimization between profitability and future and vision and execution. There are different metrics that I think as a VC we need to really consider when we pull the trigger. So just to kick off, to get the audience excited. So one recent project I looked at that's a little bit deep in is actually a sex toy related a project. So it is. I do believe that sex sells. So I think there are a lot of basically different deep business models for DePIN. What physical objects or items we try to decentralize in terms of the economics and the tokenomics. So I'm mostly on the observing side of DePIN, trying to learn more about what kind of things are real. So basically, I think the bottom line is that we need to feed the profits back to the community to enrich the community in terms of buyback or some kind of profit sharing. So I think that in terms of ability to sell those items or the ability for the items to generate profits are key to success. So that's on the DePIN side. But in terms of basically what I'm excited most is basically consumer side of things in terms of social gaming and also e-commerce side of things. Think and also maybe a little bit more focused on the Tron ecosystem in terms of these things that happen. So it might be Tron, not exclusively or solely on Tron, but Tron plus one more ecosystem, because Tron has almost 1 billion of users on it, and any conversion of that to either on the chain happening on Telegram or beyond Telegram. I think the interaction is very interesting and powerful. Second is, I think AI integration is what AI plus Web3 is definitely our core thesis. In terms so far, we have seen more like a DePIN side of things where we are kind of building maybe AI computation platform or kind of decentralizing basically data centers or graphics card in the sense.
Yeah.
So we are looking beyond that, the breakthroughs. For example, maybe is there anything large language model related that can be incorporated, combined with maybe something maybe generative side of things, Gen AI side of things. So also maybe the governance side of things. So we were looking at different things on the AI plus. I think recently one huge project that we actually did not invest in is Gaia. So I think it's like a little bit GPU back. There's also finance layer on it. So it's a step beyond, and let's see what's going beyond that. So
Yeah.
I think maybe two more just to touch on is RWA side. I think passing on the yield, bringing operational efficiency in terms of like settlements of bonds or of funds in terms of whether we can tokenize some funds, etc. That I think if I like the platforms that can capture these volumes and yields. If we clip like a small yield out of it for retail investors to get maybe 10% plus of return, I think that's very powerful. So an extension is some asset management platforms that we look at, looking at that, how to bring users on board. I think wallets, we have talked about how to bring yields to the users to bring it. So we are looking at that. So wallets and exchanges, we are looking at. So our team is actually, we are backed by executives of the top exchanges that cover 80% of the global volume. So basically, kind of trading volume, the DNA is like they know the more like exchange volume DEX inside out. So we are currently focusing on looking at that.
Yeah.
And one more last thing is I'm actually advising a stablecoin project, and we're looking into Ethena style model on other chains or some other things that we can do with stablecoins. Feel free to suggest. Thanks.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for that rundown. In terms of, I guess, geographically speaking, which jurisdictions are you guys, do you find yourself focusing in, most? It's, Web3 is an international, it's global movement, global thing. There's some jurisdictions more friendly than others. Where are you guys, I guess, most bullish on in terms of geographically speaking? Thomas, I know you travel all the time, so maybe you'd be a good one to start this question off.
So we didn't do it on purpose, but looking at stats, I think we got a lot of Chinese founders in Singapore, Indian founders in Dubai and Singapore, and European founders in Dubai, Germany, Lisbon, of course, and US teams in the US. So I think that there are two also again two layers, like where the teams are and where they incorporate the business. So I think most of them are using like offshore structure, but then in terms of team building and team members, it's quite decentralized.
I see. What about like looking at the jurisdictions in terms of like being friendly towards Web3? Which ones do you think are best? Hong Kong is making a big effort. I know that. But you hear a lot about Dubai, Miami. Which ones do you think are most friendly?
I think for startups, for startups, I think is still like Cayman Islands, BVI.
Okay.
But then for more regulated business, like for instance, some projects, the whole business model is about regulated or engaging regulators. Then for those, I think definitely Dubai.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Linda, are you want to share your thoughts on this, or?
Yeah, so I think because as you said, we're Web3, so I think jurisdiction doesn't matter, because I think all the companies set up in kind of like offshore location. But I think the question is more like, okay, if you want to find investor, where do you find investor? If you want to find consumer, where do you build projects? Doesn't really matter like the geographical location. First is actually my observation is actually cities like Hong Kong, actually traditionally like in the past, it's quite easy to build a consumer market in Hong Kong. For some reason, it has attracted a lot of users. I mean, I just base it on maybe the NFT metaverse space, where actually a lot of like sales come from this area. Not to mention early days, a lot of really big crypto exchange that were found in Hong Kong. But the problem with Hong Kong is it's not good for finding talents. As we all know, like the talents is very rare and it's very expensive. So if you want to build a project really quickly, you have to go somewhere like Vietnam nowadays for the blockchain kind of application development. That's why we have a team in Vietnam. That's, I think, more talking about their developer hub or resources. Or maybe India, which they always have, this strong developer community. But to market a product successfully, actually, Hong Kong is a good place, just because when I compare those to, if you ask, how does it compare to maybe Singapore or even like Japan or Korea or some other Southeast Asian country, I think first is a language consideration, because a lot of Southeast Asian projects, they don't market necessarily in English. They market to their local communities, and also that's definitely true for Korean or Japanese project. As for Singapore market, actually Singapore is good for actually fundraising activity in general, but the consumer market is not big enough. Like it's sometimes have to see how it's being connected to its other regions too. So Hong Kong actually always have the China mainland implications. So how it brings people over from that side too.
Yeah.
So but somehow Hong Kong, we don't see as many projects in Hong Kong as compared to before. A lot has changed, and also market has slowed down. But the last thing, or maybe the regulatory side, I think definitely Dubai is more friendly. It's more open, but also geographically arguably it's kind of close to Asia. But if you want to, also Asia is definitely like the bigger market compared to just Middle East alone. That's why I found the projects or wherever in Dubai, eventually when they set things up, they still want to market back to Asia. So that's actually, there's some distance in terms. I know like internet doesn't sleep, but somehow you just have to, it takes time for you to get to Asia. So Dubai is somewhere, it's great for setup, but eventually people realize they need to come back to Asia to do all the events and stuff. So that's my observation.
Cool. Thanks. Ray, how about you?
Yes, thanks. So we like to say the blockchain or Web3 is decentralized and thus is global, which is true to a certain extent. I do see the capital of basically there are 3 or 4 capitals of Web3 capitals. I think New York is definitely one, especially a lot of the Silicon Valley startups actually moved to, or the founders moved to New York. I think Web3 is like a tech fin, like another step beyond fintech. I think a lot of the tech and finance can happen in New York. And of course, Dubai, that I think the previous speakers talked about being relatively friendly. I think maybe the cluster of Abu Dhabi and Dubai is basically, I see funds set up in Abu Dhabi these days, in the Web3 funds. And it seems like that even the traditional capital market is heating up in the Middle East. And some of the exchanges have been able to get licenses in the Middle East as well. In terms of Hong Kong and Singapore, I think it's definitely capture a lot of the Eastern hemisphere volume and also activity and also talents. As we just saw that the world's largest Web3 conference just happened basically last month in Singapore, which is Token 2049. And in March,
Yeah.
we have Web3 Festival in March as well, which is very huge as well in Hong Kong. So I do think actually a lot of the actual, as Nina said, a lot of the users are actually we target Southeast Asia because decentralization allows us to reach those users cheaply in terms of token incentives, etc. And also a lot like in Greater China, we know there are a lot of activities that happen with long DNA of basically a lot of exchanges founded in Hong Kong, a lot of the mining done in the region. So we have been in the area for a long time, and but in the U.S. a lot of innovations do happen. So we have seen a lot of the previous cycle or the current cycle is actually more led in the U.S. side in terms of a lot of the infrastructure protocols. So I think it is a balance between there are a lot of users in the East and a lot of the innovations on the West, and how we bring everybody on board and how to bring the Web2 capital on board is basically what we have been trying to do and communicate with a lot of traditional investors, etc. Especially we lack innovation on Web2 these days, and Web3 is an alternative in building a new platform economy in a decentralized way. Yes.
And how have the rate cuts, I guess, impacted you guys, and how do you think it's going to play out going forward? Will they continue the rate cuts, and how are you guys seeing this? Ray, if you just want to continue, be the first one for this.
We see how velocity and how speedily the market responds, especially in the traditional capital markets in basically Greater China, mainland China, and Hong Kong. It shot up by so much. I think the U.S. rate cut did send a ripple across the ocean to Asia, but I think I want to highlight there will be further rate cuts down, and so there's a lot of like monetary easing potentially in the region. So in basically Greater China. So I think it will be largely supporting at least the assets in the region, in sort of asset pricing. So I do see basically for the past year, whenever I visited different countries and visited cities in China or even like Hong Kong, etc. I think people are not so happy and excited. Now people are talking about traveling again. There are a lot more economic activities again. So I do think rate cuts will come and will bring life to the region. And hopefully, I think when people earn money from basically traditional assets, they will also look into the Web3 side of things. That's what I'm hoping and what I'm expecting.
I agree. I think with the 50 basis point is pretty much means instead of a 25 basis point, I think that means we're looking at maybe 200 basis point next 12 months. So it's a way to manage expectation, and I think naturally more money will start flowing into financial assets, and crypto has already been a known financial assets that outperforms other financial assets, and so I think naturally there will be some overspill into net inflow into this asset class, which drives up prices of Bitcoin and other altcoins.
Yeah, so just want to add on just another aspect of wake up is actually most of the RWA projects currently is tokenizing the US Treasury and US bill. So I think one prediction personally I'll make is on-chain assets will become more attractive because of the yield would compared to the US Treasury and bond that will come down with time. So that's actually another reason. Personally, I think RWA is not just about tokenizing these bond or traditional assets that have a yield kind of implication, but definitely this part of the RWA is something I think we'll see maybe a little less excitement while people switch back to buying Ethereum for staking, and that probably generates close to 10% a year. So that's maybe one of the impact that comes with the rates cut.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, and how do you guys think the U.S. presidential election is going to impact the Web3 space? I mean, Trump gave a talk at the Bitcoin conference in Nashville. I think RFK Jr. gave a talk there. But it's clearly an issue in this election. Do you think it's if one, if Trump wins or if Kamala wins, which one will be better, or does this not really matter for the market? What's your guys' opinion on that?
I'll say actually in person, Trump is definitely a rock star. Like everyone was cheering for him, but then I'm a little skeptical about let's say crypto is only one industry among many industries and among many aspects when we choose the leader for a country. So I think what he said that definitely made a few people happy, but I'm skeptical about whether a voter should choose a leader simply based on there should be more elements that they should be considering, but definitely in this context in crypto, Trump is definitely a rocket factor.
Okay. You heard him at the conference, right? You were there, Thomas?
Yes, I was there in person. Yeah.
How is it? Did you hear RFK Jr. speak?
I didn't go in. I ran into him in a restaurant.
Oh, wow.
He was like escorted by a bunch of bodyguards, and his voice is a little funny. So I think I need the subtitles, so it's clearer to watch on YouTube.
Yeah. Cool. Ray, Linda, do you guys have an opinion on this, or?
Yeah, I'll quickly opine, and I think Robert Kennedy Jr. I think he has a raspy voice. So, but anyway, he dropped out and basically already.
Right.
I think all of the candidates are supportive of Web3 innovation. So I'm not basically I'm positive about for either presidents to be on board. I think partly because they do want to capture basically get the fundings or donations from the industry, right? So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think both came out to basically to say that basic Web3 or blockchain is an innovation that we cannot ignore. So I think
Mm-hmm.
some candidates go further to put them along with AI and other innovations. So I do think um, basically Web3, AI, etc. are definitely heavily focused by
Mm-hmm.
both. But I think Trump is, as Thomas said, I think that Trump is I think a little bit more, even more into Web3 because he's been basically or his affiliates have been looking into a lot of the NFTs and the tokens, etc. Um,
Yeah.
launching projects even. So it seems to be a very interesting. They know how to capture the market, capture the noise, and capture the technology.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of technology. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So also want to just add I think the way we should assess the US election, obviously, if you wonder what's going to happen to the crypto price, I think there's party market that helps you to kind of guide your price action. And the result will probably be priced in before, the election ends.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, traditionally, like in US, like the two party hasn't been known for their discrepancy on their digital assets front. So in terms of deposit difference between the two parties, actually very little, or you can say that they haven't been paying that much attention in the past. So with Trump, I think the only really obvious benefit I can see is because of his, you can say it's like the marketing power, because he's going to the conference and talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So generally, there's like more promotion of the industry. Not necessarily saying that he knows exactly what's like he's doing with it. He probably got a team, and then he probably care less about how to actually reform the whole industry ready for Web3. But I think he's definitely very vocal, and that's a good thing in general because you just need the publicity.
Mm-hmm.
And with someone, very much getting all the attention at the moment, with the election coming up. But whoever's being elected, I think, if you're talking about like the structural changes, with the regulators or with the government approach to cryptocurrency, I think that's going to take time, whoever's going to be elected.
Right.
But maybe with Trump, we see just more apps and kind of like more mentioned in the news, and so that people, kind of like, wonder, and maybe this bring in more liquidity for the market, more users.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think, but this would be an event that probably, it's only gonna last for another maybe 1 or 2 months, and then
Right.
I think our focus will be on what's the next step. I
Yeah.
think maybe the broader macroeconomics in the US, how it's gonna impact, just like you said, the rate cut and all the other policy, how it's gonna impact not just like crypto but also
Right.
all the other industry.
Yeah. Yeah. You think they'll add Bitcoin to the reserve? You think there's a good chance of the next administration, whether it's Trump or Kamala, doing that?
I don't think it's we've seen what happened when you have over 90% of reserve on just Bitcoin. So I think however that's gonna be done, it will be either it's gonna be a very minority of the total reserve, or it's not
Right.
gonna really
Right.
happen. We know the U.S. government been holding Bitcoin in another way because of all the Bitcoins or crypto being confiscated
Yeah.
from like criminal activity. Same with Chinese government. So the government technically they're exposed to crypto assets and maybe even managing them. And
Mm.
maybe over time to be honest, they accumulate a lot that you have to say they are some of the biggest holder of Bitcoin or other crypto right now in the world.
Yeah.
So they're already exposed, but to add it to the treasury, I think it would be something maybe too radical to actually, see it happens for good reason.
Takes time.
I think so too. Maybe not next term, maybe not even next term, because the largest T-bill holders are China, Japan, UK, and so it's quite interdependent between. US doesn't need to worry about UK, Japan, but between China and US, I think China is supplying cheap money for US to do to be the world police or to be the leader of our planet. And if the moment US adds Bitcoin to National Reserve, it sends a signal to other players that they shouldn't trust US dollars as much. Then it's like a bad message to tell the world. So I think it's not going to happen that soon. When they do it, I think our world is in serious trouble, and they have to. But we're not there yet, I think.
Yeah. So it's like a foundation selling their own token or something.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Just last question. I think we're a couple minutes over, but if you guys could, we just had Token 2049 a couple weeks ago. I'm pretty sure all three of you went. Could you guys just share like the most exciting or top project that you met or came across at the event with everybody? Like what was the most exciting project that you guys encountered there or learned about, I guess?
Maybe I'll kick off. So I wasn't there for the project, to be honest. It's more for listening. Basically, I think the conference is a barometer of the industry's growth. I think there are more than 500 side events, or some people say 800 side events happening in Singapore during that week. So it testifies the energy in the industry. But after speaking with a lot of people and basically reading a lot of we call it 小作文, after the conference, is basically people write about, commenting on it. It's basically a lot of the VCs are complaining about the lack of new narratives, and also in terms of how do we get more users on board, and about how difficult listings are, and how we're trying to improve on that. And basically a lot of the infrastructure investments are basically need to be lifted soon in order for the VC to capture that. So as Linda was saying about the meme coin is actually very popular. I attended the meme coin conference, and I think people are very excited about it. So so I think I do think meme coin has further legs. I do think how I see basically I think meme coin and DAOs can be interactive or even interchangeable after I look at the comments. Yeah.
Linda, how about you? What's your biggest takeaway?
Yeah, I agree with Wade. Because first of all, our venture capital, because we are part of the group and we are more like a venture studio, so we usually we incubate our own projects. So maybe only 10% goes towards more external projects, and it has to be kind of like in line with the ecosystem we're building on. I think the most exciting is maybe like I said, there's people have been wondering if there's new narrative. There are a lot that have been attempts around the AI, which is something I think we're still skeptical about how it's gonna, like integrate with Web3 and what kind of impact it will actually make, because a lot of AI application on Web3 is more to do with maybe the decentralized ownership around AI and the AI model. So this has this may take some time to mature, in my opinion. In terms of like the chain narrative, so the L1 narrative, I think two stand out to me are Solana and Bear Chain, because they are both had like great parties and conference, in the week, and it actually if back to what I said about consumer, people actually turn up for their events, which is something we measure, like not just about what is being presented. It's more about what people, why people are going there and who are the people being at those events or parties.
Yeah.
So I think Bear Chain has the potential of maybe leading more the entertainment kind of like narrative of blockchain, which I think it has some potential, just because a lot of the crypto narrative is driven by influencer, not saying the crypto influencer necessarily, but I mean the real world influencer. I think one interesting thing is we talk about so much about Memecoin and even like platform like Pump.fun, but the only time they actually make it to headlines when there are few celebrity launching the tokens, and at there were actually 3 or 4, not that many, because they really gain the volume. And also there's celebrity Iggy Azalea, who launched the Mother token. She was there, she had a party, she was doing all this performance, and she had a launch about her casino platform, whatever. So these are the things people, like, I think average user understand and participate, despite this may not be for everyone, but it kind of like it's the consumer aspect. I think it helps to bring people into the space. And then Solana being very solid in terms of their infrastructure, and they've also more real world integration with the traditional finance. So it's like very bullish as well.
Okay. Thomas, last.
I agree completely with what Linda said. I think your observation is spot on, and you pretty much said what I wanted to say, so I have nothing to add.
Okay. Well, I think that's all the questions for tonight. So yeah, thank you guys for joining. Enjoyed hearing from you. I hope everybody got something out of this conversation, and look forward to seeing everybody in person at the post quantum blockchain day at October 4th here in Hong Kong. So that's all I got. Thanks everybody. Have a good night, good day, wherever you are, and talk to you later.
Thank you, Sam.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye guys. Thanks.